2.
And then I wonder what TS go with, right? Because Yuumi and Lulu, pretty much the only 2 supports we see paired with the Zeri. If JDG did just opt to take it away here, would leave something to be desired, but JDG maybe won't go with that. Instead, guarantee yourself a Vi to have that 100% lockdown on the Zeri. Looks like what they're aiming towards.
Looking like they're going to try and maybe just, like as you mentioned, lock and load there with the cease and desist here from Kanavi, able to pick up that Vi this time around. Tian did have some great ultimates in that last game to be able to try and make sure it worked out in their favor, but Top Esports now happy to go back towards maybe the Poppy to make sure they can kind of, to sway any real kind of, movement from the side of JDG to get on top of the Zeri. I imagine they will also lock in the Lulu as well after this. It's just too powerful a combination to really be leaving open until the next round of bans.
Yeah, and if they do go with that, we have seen a few other things paired with Sivir. Like I remember Anyone's Legend paired it with Amumu. I believe we've seen it paired with the Nautilus once before as well. But typically is with the Enchanters. If JDG do want to, I mean, they then have some all-in and some more engaged to be able to play for. I feel like you would have to link up and pair your bot duo a lot with your jungler, because typically, right, when you have those Enchanter versus engaged bot lanes, that is what it's about. But JDG, in Game 5, I would love it. Give Yagao his Azir, a pick he is incredibly comfortable on.
Yes.
And they do it. So JDG now having a lot of range to be able to play with. And right, Poppy brings the ability to find engages, but still not the same as the effect of like a Leona or a Nautilus. So now with a lot of disengage under their belt, a lot of range to play with as well, Top Esports definitely going to need some more guaranteed all-in to be able to take down Yagao and make sure he isn't too much of a menace.
I mean, it's been banned away every single game, and for good reason. Yagao is a menace on this pick, and we talked about it very much at the start of the day, saying that, yes, Azir is an incredibly powerful scaling mid laner that can do very well when you get to those 35, 40-minute marks, but the way Yagao plays this just opens up such a massive world of exceptional play for this mid laner. He can really make things work, and when you have something like a Vi to follow up on that, the mid lane 2v2 between Tian, Knight, and Kanavi Yagao all of a sudden has a massive hyper focus on it.
And now taking away a lot of these all-in style champions to be able to contend with the Azir, right? Sure, these things can lose in the isolated 1v1 and laning phase, but it's a lot more about linking up with your team. Now for Top Esports, to see what their last ban is, actually taking away the Karma. That was the one other Enchanter support my mind was going for if JDG wanted to try and play that ranged battle and be like, hey, you don't have a ton of engage right now, we can go with it. Showing the other 2 things, Leona still being up, Pyke as well, but I think cementing themselves with some more guaranteed engage would be nice. Amumu or Leona probably being the most viable things on the table if they really want to be able to start off those team fights. And then for Top Esports, once again, blind picking for Wayward. You still do have Sejuani open, which could give you that avenue, with the Gnar as well being on the table. And then for jungle for themselves, I mean, heck, without the Wook, oh, I guess not for jungle themselves, for mid lane themselves, not too many things on the board. You always could go towards the LeBlanc, but no, wanting to go towards the Taliyah once again. Knight had a decent performance in that last game in terms of like his mechanics on the Taliyah, right? The walls were pretty solid. His seismic shoves always land. It was just some of the positioning where he'd get caught out, which really came back to bite him.
Yeah, it really did. That last team fight, of course, at the back of Baron was the big difference maker in that last game. But for JDG, I was just going to say, this is the first game now they will have guaranteed counter pick into Wayward. And they're going to try and put it onto the Aatrox. So, 369 now giving himself that big, powerful move. And again, we saw how good it was in game number 3. This was the game where Wayward took the Gnar and was just getting pummeled, to be perfectly honest. You take the Comet, you build up the lethality, and you just have so much damage. So, JDG happy to bring that one back. And honestly, looking at these 2 teams, it's very hard to see who kind of, quote-unquote won the draft, because I think both teams exceptionally happy with the tools they have.
I do gotta say, for 369 though, I feel like he has to be able to put up that level of domination again, because playing Aatrox into these champions looks incredibly hard. Like, Poppy has the ability to just take you out of a fight. Lulu can whimsy you, can make it hard when you're just a champion that doesn't really have the tools to engage. So we're gonna be looking at 369 to put up the same level of performance he did in the last game, and this time around, for the side of TS, kind of looking at Knight to be able to step up, have that huge performance, and then link up and set JackeyLove up for success, because JackeyLove was able to break damage numbers when he had the Zeri before.
Yeah, don't forget, the last time we saw JackeyLove in this series with Zeri, he literally had over 92 1,000 damage done in the game. That was a record-breaking kind of damage stat for any player in the entirety of the LPL ever. So we'll see if he's able to do it one more time on a champion like Zeri that has got just incredible carry performances. It is now down to the final game. Top Esports started this series 2-0. JDG have crawled themselves back and now stand one step away from a reverse sweep. Whoever wins this match goes to the LPL final. Loser goes down to meet EDG for a second shot, but it all comes down to this. The next Nexus to explode ends this series.
Both teams feeling incredible pressure right now, Sheen. The fact that JDG have been able to claw it back, Top Esports with that early lead, and now swapping sides for the first time could make all the difference. Yagao getting his hands on a champion he's looked incredibly comfortable on in the recent splits. And just overall, right, when you think of Yagao historically, you think of LeBlanc, you think of Zoe, and then that third pick to me really jumping out being Azir from his time 2020 and 2021.
We'll see now JDG looking for a bit of early aggression, but Top Esports pretty set up in their ways to make sure that nothing too untoward can come out of this one now. And again, we can kind of bring ourselves back into what is this game. We've talked about it holistically, but looking at the two junglers, we talked about it last time around, how incredibly active they were. In game number 4, it was just Kanavi and Tian being so much around the map, trying to be as much of a nuisance as they possibly could. Bandage toss does miss. Boomerang Blade only hits on the backside of this, but looking at Kanavi and Tian to make those pivotal plays, to get those early advantages, is going to be so key for both these teams.
Kanavi having the agency with the Vi to be able to engage to find these plays to where, for Tian, right, can get in lane, can knock them in the walls, find the stun, knock them up with the ultimate. But the one thing I'm concerned about for TES is, I mean, if it is in a neutral state, JDG on things like objectives, and like, how do you force your way in? It looks very hard. But if Top Esports can get a bit of a lead, can get JDG's comp to come into them, things are looking good. And for now, it looks like Tian gonna be the one to once again focus down on that bot side pathing there now, but Kanavi as well. Red Raptors straight to the bottom half of the map. So priorities haven't changed at all, Asheen.
Nope, they have not whatsoever. JDG may be on the red side of the map, but they want to try and keep the exact same game plan as we come into this one here. Again, Aatrox taking up that Comet will just be able to kind of harass out, but oh, Bandage Toss does land. Missing, I don't know if you really want that trade right now. I will say that the Lulu far more equipped to be able to deal with some, oncoming crying boy, as the Amumu just take a fair chunk of damage and try to burn through some of those pots.
Say, when we saw AL play the spot lane matchup, they got absolutely wrecked, and it looked so hard to be. Anytime you go in, you would just get out-traded. They'd be able to outstand the damage, and then the Amumu would just get out-traded on the way back. We said, when you go with engaged into Enchanter supports, it's typically about linking up with jungle and being able to win out in, like, those 3v3s. You can see Kanavi already being here. Tian actually in river picking up Scuttle Crab first. So we'll see if JDG can abuse this window or not, because it looks like JDG actually just going to push in the spot wave and start to get some vision down first.
Tian now looking towards this mid lane after taking the scuttle, kind of saying, look, there might be a Vi here. Yagao just going to walk away, doesn't use the shifting sands as of right now. Kanavi has spent a hell of a lot of time here as he looks to try and maybe catch out Mark. He's ramping up the Q, but he hasn't committed to it just yet, and now he's in a little bit of a catch-22 where he has to, they have to know.
Well, because, right, they don't see him on top side. They didn't see, like, Scuttle Crab or anything go down, and now looking for 369. And both teams laners being so cautious about the potential early plays able to come through on the map. I mean, right, your decision to go to finals on the line, I like the respect coming through, but it also might mean we won't see the same level of bloodbath that we've gotten throughout the series so far.
No, I will say, I think it was in game number 3, we had quite a tempered start, shall we say, as now Kanavi going to find himself into these Raptors at the moment, but it's just going to be kind of a trade back. The steadfast presence and the stun into the wall means that Kanavi's in a little bit of a precarious position, but with smite for both junglers, And with the help of Knight, Tian gets himself the Raptor steals. So now you're going to see a missing going in, and this is exactly what you talked about. The heal with the polymorph means there's not real kind of trade back. As I say that, Mark's getting pushed in. Missing gets so much onto him. The Boomerang Braid is good, and one more auto attack means that Hope gets first blood. And we talked about how difficult this bot lane matchup is working for the Missing and Hope, but they make it work.
They find the all in there. Both summoner spells had to be, I guess 3 summoner spells used for JDG's bot lane to confirm the kill to come through. And then Hope able to finish it off and get the gold all for himself. Gonna come back to lane with a pickaxe, 2 longswords, and a dagger. So he's gonna be incredibly strong. And this is the first time we've seen JDG's bot lane find an advantage. Mark feeling incredibly confident to walk up here. Opens himself up for the engage. This is where it looks a little bit awkward with the polymorph coming through, but once heal comes online and ignite gets dropped, JackeyLove just not having the same amount of damage able to come out, and Missing able to do a ton. Mark getting a little bit baited there, thinking they'd win out in the trade.
Yeah, and the thing is that you have 2 combat summoners that can be used, between yourselves on JDG versus just the heal. Yes, JackeyLove has a cleanse, but if you're not focused on JackeyLove, then that cleanse isn't going to do anything. So really nicely kind of focused in there by JDG, and not only does it mean they get the advantage in bot, but they also get first dragon as well. So
Machine, it's crazy. We've seen top esports controlling bot side most likely and getting dragon in most of the game so far, but this time around, complete role reversal for JDG. Maybe coming with the reversal of sides, as we see 369 very liberal with his world ender usage.
Yep, just using it there to maybe try and chase back Wayward, as the wave was kind of stacking up in favor of 369. It looks like he just wants to try and maybe get this wave pushed in as a slow push as best he can and force Wayward out, because he knows there's no level 6 here for the Gnar. So just kind of abusing the fact that he's got himself a power spike and making sure that he's as big of a position as he possibly can be.
Good by Wayward to go into river, get the honey fruit, and also kind of gives you a good state of mind knowing, hey, no one's around in river, so the dive's not coming through, right? Because typically when you see those stacked waves, you can expect a dive to come through. That's what happened to Wayward last time around in this matchup when Yagao was able to rotate over. Though with Yagao on the Azir this time, we're not going to see as much of that, as Kanavi might be getting pincered.
Might be. They do have a flash here onto Tian and Knight, but it'd be very hard to really lock him down unless you had the Unraveled Earth already placed down. The way everyone kind of backs themselves away, so we kind of see another kind of lulled state in this game after the dragon has been taken. You are waiting for another minute or so for that Rift Herald, and you can see 369 just kind of using that 3 strike on the Q just to make sure that he has got as much pressure now as he knows that Tian was on the bot side of the map.
And doing a great job, once again, holding this up. But he has to be careful, because last time around when he was the Aatrox in this matchup, he had the Taliyah. This time, Knight on the Taliyah would make it very easy for them to look for a play up on top side, shut him down, and give Wayward his comfort zone. But going back to what you were saying a second ago, right, about, they both have flashes, maybe they can look to lock them down. That's where I'm struggling with TES's comp in terms of not really having that guaranteed setup to be able to get plays going. When JDG make it easy and have these overextensions, you could set up these plays, but without those, there really isn't too much in the cards available for them.
See, 369, he really wants this plate right now, but he will spot out the fact that there is a Tian coming, and he's going to have to try and back himself away. Wayward not quite at his level 6, or excuse me, his Mega Gnar to use his level 6, but now Kanavi maybe thinking he can maybe go for a fight here onto Tian. They're going to get the stun down. Wayward's going to think about it. There's going to be Taliyah ultimate like you talked about, and they just pile everything in on top of the Aatrox. You don't need guaranteed engage when you're 1v3.
Exactly. For the side of JDG, can opt into those plays when Knight does have the ability to move. JDG feel comfortable when they are 5 members with all 5 members of top esports in front of them, but they still look like they're going to posture for the fight. Missing has his ult. Mark still doesn't.
Oh, you're going to try and jump on the Missing. There's the Curse of the Sab moment to come out. He gets flicked back as well. The heal comes out to try and keep Missing alive. He just about go down. The Poppy has been traded. Hope, though, in a lot of trouble. Nice flash, but he's on the wrong side of the rift. They're trying to jump onto Mark, but he doesn't quite go down. And you can see now Yagao with the soldiers trying to do his best, but Wayward should be able to go mega and keep himself alive. Hope seeing if he could maybe catch somebody out, but he hasn't even got brown bags on his shoes. 369 is here, but it's all too little, too late, and the game has just exploded in the favor of top esports.
And JDG just overforcing, even 369 there, committing the flash, trying to find the pick onto, I believe it was Mark. They had just gotten picked off in topside, trying to commit to that 2v2, instantly try to take a Rift Herald fight at a numbers disadvantage. And we'll see here. I feel like they feel confident because they have the Curse of the Sad Mummy up. They're thinking, okay, maybe we can find a huge lockup to be able to find the kill. They immediately only get the CC onto Tian. Doesn't really do much. They do find the pick back with Kanavi falling through, but then are left in such an awkward position because they all end on the Poppy. It meant all of the DPS members of Top Esports were free hitting this whole fight. Hope left in an impossible position. Doesn't have the ability to get away because he already flashed over the wall. And 369 here, wanting to take down Mark. He just traded flash for flash with the support. And at the end of the day, I feel like JDG have just put themselves in such a rough position that they didn't need to be in.
Yeah, I mean, that's a kill literally across the board for everyone on JDG, or a death,
Look at JackeyLove, Oisin, look at him!
2-0-2. Monstrously big on this area. And again, we've seen it so many times this series alone of how what he can do with it. Weaver's Wall not available here for Knight, but Tian is here with Wayward. Are going to have the World Ender popped here by 369 just for that extra little bit of movement speed. But you got to be careful now as Top Esports. Yagao and Missing here to try and maybe make a bit of a difference here. They'll get the knock into the wall and look to try and trade this one back as effectively as they can. Good flick back and good damage here on top of 369, but he is still an Aatrox. He's going to be able to sustain quite significantly coming into the last few seconds of this one. But now Kanavi maybe looking to try and get a bit of a fight. They're going to try and go for this one here. The Curse of Sad will be not quite available. They miss the bandage toss, and oh, that feels so bad. Your flash engage is such a huge tool for the Amumu, and it doesn't yield any results.
Especially when you're the team that committed resources to topside, right? They committed Missing up towards top. Look at Mark. He's still in bot lane with JackeyLove. It's giving them a ton of pressure and a ton of freedom to just push this wave in consistently, keep Hope under turret. And for JDG, I mean, luckily, right, they're not really too far behind. It's 1K gold at the 10-minute mark, but still feels like a lot of choices that they didn't have to make. A lot of flashes down that don't have to be down. To look at Top Esports, both Wayward and Knight still having those up. And item advantage is already starting to come out. Sure, Kanavi finishes his Chempug Chainsword, but Tian's already finished his Frostfire Gauntlet.
Yeah, the Frostfire has to just feel so much more impactful. Yes, the Chempug Chainsword is a very good, powerful, kind of stat stick, if you will. And of course, Grievous Wounds are always very nice to have, but it is definitely not going to have the same level of impact, especially for something like a Poppy that is going to be able to kind of stick to you as almost like glue in these fights. As we can see, Wayward just using the fact that he's now got himself an advantage. 1-0-3. Top Esports have control on the bot side because, like you mentioned, JDG had committed so many resources top in the last minute or so. So now we're looking at a Top Esports that are 1,000 gold ahead. They've stopped the dragon stacking by JDG, and JDG are, again, behind on item spikes.
And Knight is Weaver's Wall again. It looks like they're trying to commit to this play on bot side, and if JDG did look to answer back or try any aggression, because they don't know if members of JDG were waiting in the wings, right? Had they come out and looked for an engage, Knight would be very easily able to follow up with that Weaver's Wall. Doesn't happen from JDG, just waiting in the back line. Does open up for the Herald play to come through, and for Top Esports to just keep stacking these up. And now for the side of TS, you can look to keep sending this Poppy towards top side, clearing out these camps, and maybe look for a repeat play on the Aatrox.
No, the Aatrox is very much overextended. He doesn't have a flash. 369, though, he's kind of separated Knight away, and they won't land the boomerang either. A little bit of a misplay by Knight, not really anticipating where 369 was going to land, or where he was going to land, to be perfectly honest. And 369 gets away with a little bit of tomfoolery in the top side.
What if this game will truly be the reverse? Top Esports build up the lead, and then JDG somehow have the insane late game machine.
I mean, maybe it's just side selection. That's what the rules were, or something like that. It's like red side must go behind. It's like, really? It's like, yes, then you may decide a winner at 40 minutes. That is when you may decide who wins this game.
And right, I mean, they do have great damage if this game does go that far. Sivir, Azir, I mean, any like grouped up settings where if Top Esports are like forcing their way through chokes or just really tight-knit grouped up soldiers plus the W from Hope, going to be able to do a whole ton at just shredding down these members of TS. But TS, with the fact that they had that last Herald, since they've had a 2v1 in bot side for a predominant time, have control, but JDG want to contest.
Ooh, that flick back almost landing Kanavi, just sidestepping the seismic shove. You won't get the last play here as Top Esports on bot side, but a flash in. They do get the heroic charge down. They are going to try and burn the flash off of Kanavi, so both junglers now losing their flash 3 minutes before the dragon. No one else really kind of going down right now. It's very hard to fully commit now when these summoners are up and down, so you got to be making sure you're timing them pretty damn consistently.
You can see with how low bot lane turret is, though, top esports just want to keep committing the rotate down towards bot side just to allow for JackeyLove and Mark to be able to hit this turret. Hasn't happened so far because we know Sivir has great wave clear, so it'd be tough to do. I feel like you would probably need someone like Tian showing or Knight, again, committing fully to be able to make that rotation. But heck, looks like now backing off, they're just going to give that one through because Herald's coming up on the board right now, already committing hope towards that top side. Yagao's covering bot, but he is TP.
Does have TP. We are past 14 minutes, so it is unleashed, meaning he can get some extra movement towards the top side should he be needed. But with the resets coming in for the Zeri, it's a little bit of a slower move. And again, this is the push and pull that we always see from some of our top teams. It's like, cool, you stayed, you wanted to spend that extra 30 seconds to get that tower. We're going to stay and go, or get out of here and rotate up towards that top side. Bandage toss from missing on the Tian just to kind of say, hey, look, we're not alone. We got plenty of people here. They are going to have the ultimate there from... the bandage toss lands him, and he Spider-Mans his way back, but I don't know if they wanted this fight because they are in a little bit of a disadvantage. They got the Azir coming in, but it's a little bit too late. Top Esports turning this one right back around, but the Aatrox with the Qs doing huge damage. But look at JackeyLove. He's on the left-hand side trying to make sure he's doing the work for Top Esports, and everybody will go down. It will be a 4 for none. As you can see, Top Esports starting to rip through this game.
Top Esports finding the fight that they probably didn't even know that they wanted, Asheen. The bandage toss connects, wild growth is huge, and now Top Esports going to start taking these turrets down, pushing up in top side. Wayward pushing down in bot, just taking absolutely everything.
I mean, that's all of a sudden exploded a 4,000 gold lead, and this is just Top Esports. Again, like you said, taking a fight they didn't even know they wanted because it was a bandage toss that just worked a little too well, to be perfectly honest, with JDG. It felt like he could have not hit it, and they would have been fine. They would have gotten the Rift Herald and backed away.
Yeah, that's definitely... I want to see that replay. I really want to give credit to Mark for that wild growth as well, but now Top Esports getting back on the map, already trying to establish some semblance of control on the spot side of the map because Dragon's up in 30 seconds. Looks like JDG, after running it down a few times, kind of accept and are committing more to top side, but we see here the ulti gonna come through right as the bandage toss connects. And then they go and they're like, cool, we got this pick. Luckily for Tian, it's right as his team gets here. Wild growth, massive, finding the knock up on all the members, then the damage able to connect from both JackeyLove and Knight, and then just run them down. 369 tries to connect with the damage, but still, with JackeyLove now on the opposite side of the fight, he would just be getting whittled down the whole time. Huge seismic shove. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. That was so unfortunate for missing in the side of JDG, but so huge for TES. TES, except they can't fight, they can feel they're too far in the hole, and they're just looking to cross map for now.
Yeah, they got a cross map. You're going to give up that dragon. Again, it's a dragon apiece and another Ocean Soul. We've had quite a few of them now this particular series, as... I can't remember. We definitely had it in 3 of them now out of the 5. I can't remember 2 of them for some reason in my head. But we will see now where this kind of, sets up the map after this. You got the top lane tier 1, but that is in trade for that dragon like we just mentioned. It's a 4,000 gold lead for Top Esports. It's a leading into a couple of, kind of, again, that moment where you're having about a half item ahead, half item, behind on either side. I will say... Hope is still scaling very well. He's got himself his Phantom Dancer. He's still in tow with JackeyLove despite being 3 kills down, but Top Esports are so big.
I gotta say, though, one thing I'm scared of for JDG being in the reverse position is the fact that JDG are a team who, again, just like to force things. So even when they're behind, we've seen them have incredibly quick games in losses because they just keep hammering home, trying to force these fights and get ahead. That definitely will not work with the items already coming out for TS. I mean, heck, Wayward finally ahead for the first time in the series. And honestly, going to make it hard for 369 to find an impact. And TS just want to keep finding this mid lane turret. Great ult coming out from Tian and just extending these advantages. I got to say, we had a dominant game from JDG. It feels fair that TS get one. I just wish this would have been earlier in the series. Maybe like game 1 or 2 was game 5.
It's not over just yet. We have seen far bigger leads thrown.
You're right.
So it's not over just yet. But
people in this series.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we've seen it in the last 5 games or 4 games. Bigger lead thrown by either side, so it's definitely not over just yet. It does come down to a little bit of execution, maybe a little bit of creativity alongside it. So we'll see what the side of JDG can do, can bring themselves back in. But yes, I do agree. I think the top esports in such a commanding position, and not even like, you know, regardless of the gold lead or anything like that, you think about what JDG's composition wants to do with the Amumu, the Aatrox, the Vi. They want to get in on top of you. You know what's really good at stopping that? Poppy and Taliyah. Very difficult to go in on top of those guys when they've steadfast presence and of course the unraveled earth. So little things like that definitely working against the side of JDG. They're gonna have to again be a bit more creative.
Oh, and now 369 got to get the hell out of Dodge. And you know, going to your point, not only that, even the reverse. That if JDG were the team, like, in the vantage point on objectives, again, it's very hard for TS to be able to force in. They're throwing out Qs from Knight, like JackeyLove's trying to get that W damage down, and if you can find that, you commit, or Wayward coming in on a flank, but it would be very hard into an Azir and a Sivir. Now, TS able to just fully take control of an area. They already know they win contests in mid. They're winning side lanes in bot as well. So it just gives them full control over the spot side jungle. Now fishing for a pick with Tian waiting with these control wards.
Double pinked. So no, he's not been caught out just yet. Hope, oh my god, wow. He was that scared. He was that scared of a flash into the knockback. So pops his spell shield. Not going to have that for a couple more seconds. No dragon to be taken just yet. And Baron is live on the map. And might see a little bit of a sneaky take right now, but I will say that JDG take the Baron a lot better, or a lot quicker than I would say top esports do at this moment in time. So definitely would be more likely to see JDG go for it than the side of top esports. But now, Mark, trying to just be a little bit more of a nuisance as he moves forward into this jungle, trying to make sure they have full control and full information before they have to go for any kind of a fight.
I like the JDG not like taking risky passes to their jungle. We even saw when they exited before, when it looked like TS might lock them down, just all of them jumping over the wall instead of like walking through an entry point, potentially giving that access to TS to be able to force a fight. So kind of realize their position, trying to get down defensive wards, just trying to clear out their own camps and hit those item break points. Hope trying to make his way to his next item. I mean, if he can get it on board, feels like it will be pretty huge. He's the one who has kept up, and it looks like he's making his way towards that IE instead of something like an LDR. But Yagao still decently far behind, only sitting on Leandri's, but I guess Knight as well. I would expect Knight has a pretty amount of gold in his pocket, though, and might even just outright be able to complete his Seraphs. Yep, there it is.
Yep, gets the Seraphs there, so a nice little power spike, of course, upgraded as well, so gets the extra benefits of it. You do actually have a Hex Drinker coming out here for 369, so recognizing there's a lot of damage coming out from this Taliyah at this moment in time. Just want to try and survive as best he can. I will say JDG have done a pretty decent job of reclaiming vision in their own side of the jungle, but it did mean that they had to give up that top lane farm. So top lane pushing in favor of top esports, and we're going to potentially have another fight, as this would be sole point for top esports. JDG really want to make sure they stop this stack and give themselves a little bit more time. As Wayward, does he know that the Vi is there? That's the question.
Yeah, you wonder. Top esports do their due diligence. They do push in midway first, and even keeping missing around, trying to mark their flanks.
Ooh.
I mean, they're going to have to find a huge engage straight on top of Knight and JackeyLove. JackeyLove even still has his cleanse and flash available.
They're looking to pincer. Missing's looking to try and get on the backside of this one here, but the Weaver's Wall is going to separate everybody out. Look at Kanavi's on the backside of this fight, but he can't really get into the Dragon Pit. And now Missing's being chased down. He does have a Blast Cone to keep himself a little bit safer. As we can see, on the hunt being used to try and save their support. Now Wayward trying to jump out. He doesn't want to be a part of this just yet. Flash by Knight is answered by Kanavi, who says, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to open this door. And they all back themselves away. But because of the waves that were set up earlier, they're going to have to be answered by JDG, and top esports can now turn for the Baron.
Oh, it's a beautiful pivot as well, right? They know they have waves pushing in top and mid, so they know, hey, we have full control of jungle. Walk in. Looks like they don't have any wards to be able to place down, but trying to catch JDG out if they're going to rotate up to catch those waves. Not able to find it, but just the fact that they're constantly looking for these minuscule advantages is huge. And, oh, are they going to start it? Are they going to bait the Baron?
Oh, they've started it, but they've backed away from it now. So Yagao puts in a soldier and realizes they're not there. That should be immediate warning signs out for the rest of JDG. Kanavi puts down a ward, but I don't think it was really needed. You knew they weren't starting it. You didn't need to put the ward down.
And now for top esports, going to be a very easy turn to this Baron for them. If they don't find it and they get a fight instead, so what? It's a win-win for TS, barring some huge misplay doesn't come out. But Wayward about to turn Mega once again. He has ult available.
Yeah, Yagao gets chunked out by the Ultra Shock Laser. They're going to try and burn him out, but there's going to be missing. Your engage is no longer there now. You're kind of CCing up 369, who can't get away. He doesn't have a way of flashing, and this has just gone disastrously for JDG. All that momentum, all that trying could be for naught, as Top Esports have now got full control of the game.
Yeah, definitely looking like a repeat of 2020 summer rather than spring when Top Esports were able to find that win. We have IE on the board now for JackeyLove as well, so he's hitting his stride. We'll see here, like you said, Yagao coming in, checks out the Baron pit, and Kanavi queuing over, puts down the ward, and then taking such a dangerous path back to his own base. Just sets up for Top Esports to get the pick. It's tragic. It's sad.
It is very tragic, and again, it's not really been one poor performance. It just feels like Top Esports, again, similar to Game 5 against EDG, are just a cut above. Top Esports every damn year. It's why we can never count them out. Even in the last game, where Knight gets caught on this Taliyah, and you think that maybe knocks his confidence. No. 1-0-9 has been almost 100% kill participation for his team. Him and JackeyLove have been exceptional at just being the carries that they're needed. But now you've got 369 on a flank, trying to see if he can go for something. Kanavi kind of maybe get an ult off as well. They're trying to pincer them in to Taliyah. Wall goes down, or the unraveled earth goes in. They kill off the Lulu. They're now going to try and turn on tonight. That's 2. You're getting the Sivir resetting. JackeyLove has nowhere to go. That's 3. Oh. The wall as Azir brings them all in, and they're going to be able to get 4 kills. I'm sorry I ever doubted you, JDG. They've turned this game right back on its head.
I can't believe that JDG actually found the kills. Top Esports, it looked like they just had too much damage on the board. By the time Missing went in, he was already half HP. But JDG just able to run them down. Now picking up the bounties. What is going on in this game machine?
They're going to be able to get an inhibitor, I think, off of this, or at least an inhibitor turret, because they're just doing so much here. They're going to back away because they don't want to have to overextend. But let's have a look at the replay, because they just recognize Wayward's top, and he might not have TP. We got to go now.
369 coming off from one side. You're right, they're coming in numerous angles. Missing looked like he was going to go down immediately, but it's actually the damage from Hope. They're instantly able to just pick apart one member of the fight at a time, and they're committing everything, right? They know it's do or die, so it's like, okay, ult to get on top of one member, flash to get on top of the next member. We cannot let them kite us out. We cannot let them buy space, and they're able to pull through at the end of the day, but it feels like now JDG kind of throwing this away early on at the Rift here. Now Top Esports getting caught out, making the game close once again.
I mean, that was a full Lord Dominic's regards being picked up by Hope. He went back after his triple kill and got himself a full item. He's now a full item ahead of JackeyLove. That's how significant that fight can be. And again, it just brings everyone back up in line with Top Esports. With those bounties, it was about a 7,000 gold lead. It's now not even a 2,000 gold lead. Or sorry, just over a 2,000 gold lead. But the fight's not over just yet. You're not done digging yourself out of this one yet, JDG. You have to stop this dragon being taken. I feel like Ocean Soul's going to be so pivotal, especially with the way these fights are going.
Yeah, TS, the fact that they're on that soul point, have great position, and Wayward about to hit Mega.
Oh, missing, but they're going to try and jump onto Tian. Tian has flash, but he's been CC'd out. You don't have a jungler. You got Gnar now as 369 and Wayward kind of rough it out in a 1v1. They're now going to make it a 3v3 as the rest of the teams now try and help them out. Wayward feeling a little bit worse for wear and kind of walking away with his tail between his legs because he just cannot continue with this fight. The dragon has spawned, and remember, no smite available now for Top Esports, but they may look for the fight anyway.
Yeah, JackeyLove having a tremendous amount of damage, able to come out through that W. They're just trying to chunk them low and see if they can find anything on exit. Not going to be able to do so. So JDG do pick themselves up a dragon. But oh, Top Esports, they want to be cheeky.
Oh, JDG aren't going to be greedy. You got to be cheeky, but they're not going to be greedy. So everyone backs themselves away.
Asheen, I feel like both teams have been very greedy at different points in this series. I thought it was going to come through again, but you might have called it.
That one.
There might be a curse. There might be a blue side, red side like dynamic to how this series is going. I will still say for Top Esports, they're still on soul point. They are still the team up in gold. Yep. Like, they're in a pretty decent position even going forward. But now, like you said, you're dealing with a 4-1-3 Sivir. He's absolutely massive. Not only decimates frontline, we've seen him kill backline as well, just from the fact of how earlier able to get his hands on that Infinity Edge. Mid laners as well, both being on that 3-item point. And it feels like these are the big members, right? We're looking at Knight and JackeyLove against Yagao and Hope, and who can out-DPS each other on the back line. Because like it's been kind of other members around getting picked out, mostly junglers. Kanavi and Tian, a lot of times trying to be the ones to start off fights, which is putting them in bad positions to open themselves up to going down.
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at the two teams, it is about those junglers. They're only really the two that can really face check. You're too reliant on top esports to have Wayward getting that Mega Gnar to really turn around a fight. You can't really let anyone else walk forward. So, and the same on JDG. You need 369 to be that damage carry, kind of threatening the Zeri and the Taliyah. You need the Amumu missing to be able to kind of defend on the backside. So it is down to Kanavi and Tian. As much as we started saying that these guys were so pivotal to their teams, they are now basically instrumental to making sure not only did they get engages, but also that they can get vision. They have to be the vanguard.
TS have done a good job, though, of keeping up their pressure on sides to allow them to walk in to have an easier time getting vision, though, right? We can see it right now, Wayward pushing up and top side. So JDG noticing that, wanting to try to overload and force something here. Won't be able to get anything, but at least will let them reclaim some vision. And now they're going to be the ones to try to find a pick.
They're going to look for it right now. They've got themselves a small little pocket, but there was a little ward there just on the mid lane that kind of spots them running into this brush. And you can imagine with the amount of vision that top esports have around this Baron pit, they're probably saying, right, well, the one place we don't have is this brush. They're probably there. That's where they probably are right now. But good vision control now being kind of taken back as, whoo, missing. You don't want to be taking too many more of those shock lasers going into the back of your head. So with the Azir turret now going to be felled, they're not going to have that continuous point of pressure. Still 2.5 minutes until the next dragon spawns. Remember, still sole point for top esports. JDG are the ones that are going to have to try and be a bit more creative, but now they're on 3 items onto the Azir. They've got a QSS finished up here for Hope, so he's got a little bit of extra survivability should he be caught out. And missing, trying to look for a little bit of a flank. He is going to find Wayward, and you can see now with the sweeper, they know he's there. Yagao gets hit by the laser, missing. They know you're there, buddy. You can see them with the red trinket. They're not going to be caught out with you just yet.
I mean, this presents an opportunity to just engage 4v5 before Missing can join in, or they can turn on Missing. I feel like they have a lot of options. Missing misses.
True to his name. Doesn't land the bandage toss, but that was incredibly close. You would have had to burn cleanses, maybe even flashes on the side of JackeyLove to make sure he did not die. They will continue to keep this kind of in the brush play going for themselves. Bot lane is pushing in favor of JDG. That should give them that tower. And top lane is just being dealt with now by Yagao. But with Baron now on the table, you can see Kanavi has to run himself back towards this topside objective. All summoners are going to be available, and it's going to be an all-out brawl. You can just feel it in the air.
Yeah, top esports feel fine doing this because they have bot wave pushing in, and top wave until, a couple seconds ago was also pushing in their favor. They still have vision up, and they just want to force this outright. We've seen JDG find their way onto JackeyLove the night before, missing as the flank.
He has got the flank. They're going to try and go in. Stolen! Kanavi gets it in with the flash. He will lose his life, but he does not care. They got the Baron despite top esports having all the vision and even then some more.
Absolutely massive coming out from Kanavi. It was Tian the one to find the steals earlier in the series, but this time around, Kanavi comes in, he gets the job done, and I love that the rest of JDG realize they don't need to overcommit, they don't need to look for the fight themselves. Sadly for TS, they don't have vision on the side of pit. This is one of the places that JDG did do their due diligence. TS actually had vision like around mid lane on the opposite side of the pit, but not where JDG were. Left it to the 50-50. They get the Baron. They need to be careful, though, as it is still a 4v5 on the map.
Still 4v5, and the dragon is going to spawn before Kanavi can reset onto the map. So they're going to have a 4v5 before they can do it. You can see top esports are saying, cool, we burn this down, we get this objective. We've seen this trade before. A Baron for Dragon Soul goes over to top esports. They would have loved both objectives, but they only get the one. However, I will say, one only lasts for another 2 minutes. The other one's lasting for the rest of the game.
They're also the team with the Zeri this time around, to where last time they went for that trade, it was the reverse. It was JackeyLove Zeri having to burn through all the members of JDG with that Ocean Soul, not this time. And, kind of taking stock again of where we're at with items. JackeyLove having that Guardian Angel, like you pointed out before, Hope, having the QSS, kind of that being the last thing he needs to finish up, needs to turn into something before he is at that full item mark. And heck, the other pieces on both sides are the ones not really getting gold, right? We still see 369 sitting about where he was before, having 2 items and some odd components on the table, but feels like most important thing is still the AD carries and the damage that they're able to dish out. Both of them having full summoner spells up, and looks like JDG, the plan is still to just overload one side of the map. They know they don't really want to contest with Wayward in the side lane. They just want to try and brute force their advantage with this Baron.
Yeah, they only got a minute left on it, though, so if they can get this tier 2, you feel like that would be the last real objective they can kind of go for this run right now. But with the Taliyah, with the Zeri, very, very difficult to actually kind of get the minions up close enough so you can actually hit this tower. With all 10 members of both teams now in this bot side, it's looking very, very tense. Only 300 is the goal difference, but remember, an Ocean Soul for top esports. Those Zeri Ws are just doing so much right now, and they're not going to be able to go for it. The On the Hunt has been popped to try and disengage. JDG know they cannot go for this fight just yet. They cannot get on top of these guys when they're getting so much poked down onto their faces.
For TS, it just seems like they're so afraid of the engage able to come out from Kanavi and missing. They don't want to keep Wayward up in that side lane to threaten top lane turret, because they know JDG just have such a guaranteed way of finding a fight that they kind of need to match them in the consistent ARAMs that we've seen. They don't want to take the chance when I feel like maybe they could, right? Wayward still has a TP available, could have put a little bit more pressure on top side. If you end up giving a turret for a turret at the end of the day, doesn't feel like it's too big of a loss. And top esports, still the team with the soul, are just playing so carefully to not throw this advantage. Now with no real objective coming up anytime soon, it feels like the fight could just be contesting vision around the mid lane to see if either of you can get into a position where, you know, you control brushes, you can try and force those picks that we've seen consistently fought over time and time again.
Look at them in the pink wards, and oh, they found out Knight! He's been forced to flash away. The TP's going to be coming in from the Azir. They missed the ultimate there from the Poppy. As Yagao does jump in, it was a little bit tentative there. Hope does have the spell shield the W. So, you don't have flash now on Knight. He couldn't Zonya's because he would have just been left in to dry off, basically. Would have been in a much worse position the longer he stayed there. And that's now a big summoner down. These are the small little things that make the difference. However, you did have to expend the TP from Yagao, so not going to have that side lane pressure like you were just talking about.
Now for TS, I expect him to wait this out, farm it up, give time for Knight to get his flashback, and Hope has just finally finished his Mercurial Scimitar to where for JackeyLove still trying to make his way to that LDR. So for TS, it seems like the sound plan would be keep up that vision line in River. We can see it up in top side right now. Keep funneling gold onto your Zeri and try and be able to match Hope. But are they going to notice Kanavi?
JackeyLove. He's trying to go for the red buff, but he finds himself a Vi. Cease and desist. They won't be able to try and kill him off, but that's the Weaver's Wall now down. JDG getting all these big ultimates, all these big summoners out before an Elder Drake in a minute 14. I will say we are super late into the game. It's a level 16 Taliyah, but definitely not ideal here for top esports.
Still, though, I mean, think about it. JDG also just traded 2 ultimates. They use the On the Hunt and the Cease and Desist coming from Kanavi and Hope. So, at the end of the day, not really too bad of a trade. Kanavi, of course, not going to have enough damage to be able to just outright burst JackeyLove there. And the other members of JDG, sadly, were just a little bit too far away with the mobility that Zeri has. Being able to slide down those walls just made it very easy for JackeyLove to be able to get away. And it looks like top esports kind of on the same page about wanting to farm this one out, try to get that LDR online before opting to take a fight. But heck, with Baron coming up in 30 seconds, looks like they are just going to have to try and contest this, get vision down, and not allow JDG just free control over this top side of the map.
Yeah, you're not going to try and... It's all going to come down to execution. It's not going to be about what gold you have, what gold you don't. It's going to come down to a GA now finished up here for 369, so he's finally on his 3rd item. Full items basically finished up here for the AD carries. You're just waiting on a bit more gold for JackeyLove so he can get his LDR. The Baron is going to spawn, and immediately you can see top esports in position to go for this one. They've got great vision control, and they will absolutely destroy this. They will take down this health bar so damn quickly, and JDG know this. They put themselves in a position to get over the wall. Kanavi could flash in again, but they know they don't want to flip this one more time. Missing, separated from the rest of his team. Nice Zonyas to stop Wayward's engage. Now they can really look for the fight. As you can see, 369 tries to make stuff work with the Q. They're not quite able to make it work, and Baron reset. You've lost the Mega Gnar now, so that means top esports very much at the disadvantage.
And JDG, I mean, they still have their engage tools, and Amumu has Azania's. Kanavi has a stopwatch. They have tools to be able to engage, buy time for their team to follow up, but Top Esports want the fight now.
They know they can see Kanavi. There's a very important ward there. They know exactly where Kanavi is, and they're going to try to deal with him. There's the ultimate. You don't have a smite now, and that's going to be the Baron going over to Top Esports. That's why the Poppy is so powerful. Wayward flashes in to try and catch 369. Nobody dies, but the prize has been taken. But Elder Drake is spawning in 5 seconds, and JDG, they're making a beeline.
Now Tian not having that ultimate, so won't be able to look to make that same play, but they bought enough time for Wayward to have that Mega Gnar online. JDG instantly wanting to go with the burst and missing, going to try and take a flank angle, but Knight's going to run into him.
Knight's going to find him and put down a hell of a lot of damage there onto the poor little sad mummy. Here we go. They're going to try and trade it back. The Elder Drake going so low. It's a flip. It's secured by JDG. And now they can really start to make this one work for themselves. In Game 5, there's going to be down on the 80 carries. JackeyLove needs to stay alive, but he loses his GA. Now Kanavi and Yagao trying to deal with Knight, trying to deal with Wayward. They're trying to deal with everybody. Kanavi yet to kill off JackeyLove, and JackeyLove is the only one left to keep Top Esports in this series.
And JDG need to be careful. We've seen JackeyLove come out in clutch moments before.
Oh, he's looking for it, but I think the Elder's going to be enough. It is. They get the shutdown. You got the Baron, but you lost everybody, and now they're TPing. They know they can end the game. They know they can get themselves a ticket to finals.
It's going to be close to Oisin. Tian coming up in about 10 seconds. Mark not too far behind him. They do have numbers advantage. They do have the Elder Drake buff, but heck, Tian might be able to do it. His ult's coming online as well.
Here we go. We're going to see them now take down the inhibitor turret. Inhibitor next to follow. Tian and Mark, you are the final bastion. You are the final people who can defend Top Esports. This is all going to be down on the ultimate.
Oh,
but
he dodges!
He missed it. And there's nothing more for him to do. The steadfast presence actually keeps him alive. And you lose the GA on 369. Lyric, it's not done just yet because here's a Weaver's Wall. Here's Knight. And Yagao's now caught between a rock and a hard place. Has to leave his top laner to just deal with the rest of Top Esports. And the game continues.
JDG there being a little bit overzealous. I mean, that timer's so low, and Wayward actually TPing behind. He might have put himself in the worst position ever, but JDG also, okay, yeah, so they just don't know where he is. I thought maybe not opting into it because, I mean, they have 2 wards right there, right? So, decide not to commit, just end up with backs at the end of the day. And I think decent call. Now we're at a point where Elder still online for a little bit, I believe, but TES still have Soul.
They have Soul. We have a look at this replay here, because again, it's a straight up flip, and you can see straight away Yagao's like, I need to kill this Poppy, otherwise we might lose the game.
Yeah, it just comes down at the end of the day to the smites coming through. It was incredibly close, but they're able to do it. And then in this fight, I thought TS might still be able to come out ahead with the fact that they have the Zeri popping off, but still, 369 on one side, zoning out Wayward. You have Yagao, who's able to keep up with Knight. Great stopwatch to make sure he doesn't go down to Wayward jumping back in or the seismic shove, and then all inning on him once he's mini. JackeyLove was able to buy time and survive, you know, for a few more seconds, but still ended up going down in the end.
And look, no matter the result, we wanted this kind of a Game 5. We wanted it to go 40+ minutes, both teams fighting tooth and nail. We highlighted right in draft, Yagao's Azir has been banned all 4 games right up until Game 5. And in that last fight, you can see why. He did so much for his team. But now, the shoes on the other foot. It was Top Esports dictating the kind of fog of war, moving into little pockets where, you know, JDG had to be very careful. It's now the opposite. JDG have a little bit of lease on life on them, and it's all due to the fact that they got the Elder and also cracked open the base and bot.
GA's now down, though, for both 369 and JackeyLove. JackeyLove, once again, just selling his right now and changing out for that Mercurial. So we're going to see what is able to come through, because JDG, I feel like JDG are in a pretty solid spot for team fights. They have both Sivir and Azir on full build, like 2 of the highest DPS carries you can have at just shredding multiple targets down in a team fight. And TS, I think, being a little bit more conditional, right? You need to be able to play around things like this Mega Gnar to find fights. And, I mean, heck, Wayward, I think, having a decent game so far, but not really finding any impactful ultimates. A lot of them trying to be thrown onto single targets. Last time around the Baron, we saw him try to just catch out Missing, who has Azania's. And yeah, we're going to need to see a little bit more come out from this for them to be able to take these fights.
It is getting to the point now where one mistake, similar to game number 4. If you missed it and you're only just joining us, first of all, welcome to the LPL. Secondly, in the last game, it was Knight who got caught out just behind the Baron pit. That led us to a game 5. That's the kind of level that we're at right now. One small misstep, one mistake can lead you to defeat. This is still double elimination, so the loser will go down into the loser's bracket, but having that extra prep time, having yourself the advantage of going in as a higher seed into our best of 5 for the finals is going to be so pivotal for both these sides. Both 2020 champions in spring and summer, JDG spring, Top Esports in summer, both looking to try and reclaim that. And even for Top Esports, they were finalists last spring. They want to go that one step further, but they got to try and win this game.
And JDG so far just trying to choke them out from their own jungle. Knight actually walking into bot side, noticing the amount of wards that JDG has, but not feeling comfortable to be able to clear them out. Baron up in 20 seconds, and JDG just trying to set up for a potential pick before that objective comes up, where they can look to start it up and potentially just try and find a turn, right? They also have great engage tools. They have an amazing ability to turn, and they're going to spot TES on their way into River.
I mean, you've got the priority now onto the Baron, and you will absolutely destroy this in Top Esports. And know this is a very real possibility. Wayward about to go Mega, and immediately will be found by 369. They bring him back with the Infernal Chains, and now JDG back themselves away from the fight. Missing goes in, catches out Wayward, but only Wayward. They get the ultimate from the Poppy, but now 369's on a flank. It's an ultimate flank. They're jumping on the JackeyLove. The Zeri is dead. Yagao gets an ultimate as well, and it looks like JDG might have done it. The Sivir refuses to die, as does the hope of JDG. They have brought themselves to the reverse sweep, and they will knock Top Esports to the lower bracket.
The one game they didn't find a lead, they actually managed to come out ahead. This org hasn't been in finals since 2020, but they managed to get back, Ashin.
They've managed to bring it back, the first final in over 2 years for JDG. Not only that, but they secure themselves a World Championship seed.
I cannot believe how this game panned out. Early on, it felt like JDG threw everything away, contesting that Rift Herald. You ask yourself, why did they go for it? They're at a man disadvantage, and quickly it snowballed into a nice gold lead for the side of TES. And then out of nowhere, Top Esports finding those same struggles. One clean team fight from JDG brought it back, and then it just felt neck and neck for so long. JackeyLove trying his best to put up damage numbers on one side, but Hope and Yagao popping off on the other. And sadly for TES, I felt like we started to see what we talked about like, how do you yourselves really force your way in? It got to the point of where it felt like JDG were really just dictating the pace of how mid-game was going. And then sadly, right, this game was kind of decided at that flip at Elder, like all things considered. Like, whoever got that smite, I feel like that team would have won that fight from how close we saw it pan out. And heck, JDG able to win out on the flip. They pick up Elder, they take the fight, and from there they were just able to bring it home.
And what a way to do it. Remember, this is again, if you're only joining us and wondering how we got to this point, JDG arguably should have won game 1, definitely should have won game 2, but fell behind a little bit too later in the game, and it was just Top Esports with some fantastic solo performances from JackeyLove, who was able to draw it back. Game 3, an absolute stomp by JDG, building back their confidence.